working on getting ourselves out of this situation by discipline. Yes, through discipline and commitment. You know, I'm getting a question quite a bit, Yaśodā, to us from a few of our wonderful members. By the way, we're so encouraged to see the new people that are joining us with fresh enthusiasm. That's different than people that are somewhat discouraged by their treatment in ISKCON, more specifically with us, down through the annals of time, and not only mistreatment, but abuse. I know some people, they don't even want to contact devotees that were previous members, and now we're doing a service, I'm going to use this term again because it's very important for people to understand this, non-sectarian presentation. We're not a sectarian group, not at all. And if you think that, you're wrong, 100%. This is, I'm calling it now an extension of Prabhupada's Vani incarnation. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. There are three ingredients. The Guru is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. He is not only Siksha Guru, he's Diksha Guru, both. He's instructing us through Shastra. Now the Shastra are the books that he authorized to be printed, not changed. And disciple. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, the disciples, the bona fide disciples of Srila Prabhupada who accept him as still living in his sound vibration, his Vani incarnation, and that is supported by all the Shastras. And we do support them in our classes, just like a lawyer. My friend Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, he has a lot of experience in legal world in Los Angeles, working for some of the biggest law firms. Now, I also have a lot of experience in law. I've been sued. When I was in the movement, Yaśodā, I was sued for, our group in Toronto was sued for $6 million by these people from Philadelphia who claimed that I had brainwashed their son. It was like the Ted Patrick garbage. So we went through that. We were attacked on the outside, and we were also attacked on the inside by our own godbrothers, viciously. Well, someone could say, well, how could you say that? Well, we lived through that. We're not just making up the stories. And Rochisha Devidas, he knows it for a fact as what happened in Montreal with Keith Ham. He destroyed Nandi in his faith, and he destroyed so many other people in Toronto and Montreal for their commitment to Prabhupada's movement by his offensive behavior to us. It was actually blasphemous, terrible. And think about it, Yaśodā. We read these offenses to the holy name in the class every week, and people read it, they hear it. And to blaspheme devotees who have dedicated their lives for the propagation of Krishna consciousness. And people ask me this question, and they ask all of us, how is it that you stayed on despite the fact that you've been so abused by the people in the ISKCON movement who tried to destroy your faith in your spiritual master and his mission because you were corrupt? And they were very corrupt, and you can look at the history. I mean, it's terrible. Think about it. Yaśodā, you saw the headline in England. What happened to Jayatirtha? Let's not mention it. If you want to find out how he was murdered, how it was done, but who did it, you can look it up online. Go ahead. But that's just an example of how abusive our God brothers were. Very abusive. Absolutely horrific. And somehow other people may not understand that. We understand that because there's different time and circumstance. Like all of you, you're new people. It's great that you're with us. We love it. And we love your service and your service attitude. But you cannot imagine how nefarious some of these people were. Almost all of them. The whole thing has crashed and burned terribly. Now you could say, well, that's a bit harsh. Well, do they understand the Vani incarnation? Do they understand it's non-sectarian, it's simply truth? And we invite people to come, some of these so-called senior devotees, because they were here in the past. Oh, you're senior. No, you're not senior. You're juveniles. You're not even juveniles. You're deviants. And we have the history, and we're not going to go over it. No, that's not our job. You can look it all up if you want. You can go to those books of Henry Dortowski. He's written 9 books on it. You showed him? 9 books on it. Very thick books. I know Henry. He's an interesting guy. He's a musician, and he's a professor at the University of Pittsburgh and this and that and the other thing. But he's written a history, so you can read about it. But this is the point. If you commit offenses, against your God brothers, you'll be punished. It's not a small thing. It's a big thing. And if you want to minimize that, these other people, I'm not speaking about us, but if you want to minimize it, that's your problem. A disobedience of the law is no excuse. Now, I'm going to go forward with this. I'm not stopping because I've got things on my mind. And, I got back from Mexico, Prabhu Yaśodā. And, there's some kind of orientation you go through when you travel, as you know. And he travels a lot. He's driving from here to there. Quite a bit of work for our book distribution. But when I got back, I thought to myself, now hold on here. I've got to balance myself again. Because I flowed off into all these books, as you know. Mother Richisha, we've been reading forever, Beyond Birth and Death. And I've been enjoying it. So I got up this morning and I thought, well, I better get back to my regular program, which, by the way, was reading the Krishna book, as you know. Now, I had read the first volume of Krishna book, and I had my Krishna book marked. Okay, fortunately here, so I'm already on page 74 of the Krishna book. I started reading the story of King Nigra. Boy. Now, when you understand Vani incarnation, when you really embrace it as a way of life, like we do, it's not artificial. I humbly read the books to try to understand them from Srila Prabhupada. And when I start reading it, I think, there's got to be something wrong with people that don't get the message. And it is probably their faith in Srila Prabhupada's words, their own weak mind, they can't focus, or they've never read them, or they don't read them, and they don't understand a bit of this philosophy. There could be lots of different reasons. I can only, let's say, speculate on a few reasons. But for us, when we read these books, Prabhupada is speaking to us in his words. And I was reading this past time, and I'm going to recommend it to everybody, just because I thought to myself while I was reading it, Yaśodā, I said, this is amazing. This particular book, this particular chapter, it's like I never read it. And I started reading, there was so much depth of knowledge in it from this. Ram Raghava, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. I was just wondering, did you want to do the Srila Prabhupada Stotram a little bit later?
Oh, thank you. I forgot. Go with the Shotram and then we'll go to the reading. Go ahead, start. We're going to do the Shotram. I forgot. I apologize, everyone. Let's go.
Srila Prabhupada Stotram. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Krishna Kacheta Madamoha Vinachakarin Madrishti Gochara Prabhupada Swamin Dosha Vivritti Paridushita Manda Buddhe Sanchintayami Charano Tava Bhakti Etu Vrindavane Ramanareti Prasiddha Bhumau Tatrapi Krishna Balarama Supada Mule Jnanam param parama Krishna sudharma ityuktam Dantastudeva Prabhupada namo namaste 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 kripa purna drishti Namaste namaste mahananda dhatri Namamu namama punaraksha raksha Prasiddha Prabhupahimam daksha daksha Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Vanga Bhumijana Bhushana Ghora Leela Ghoranga Bhava Parisharana Matra Shila Radha Mukunda Pada Padma Manovilasin Anandarashi Prabhupada Namo Namaste Anandarashi Prabhupada Namo Namaste Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much. That was blissful. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paribrajaka-charya Astatara Satasri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda Ki. Jai. We're going to move right forward into this reading, which I've already given the preamble to it. And I want you all to, now this is in the story of King Nirga, and it's a section of at the end of the chapter. I did read the chapter today. It was fantastic. It just helped me, and I advise some of my other people I'm preaching to, please always read every day. This will give you peace of mind. Otherwise, if you stay away, you're going to become bewildered by mental speculation and fault finding and criticism and everything else that enters into the mind of a conditioned soul. So Prabhupada, here he goes. This is page 74. Let's go to it. Thank you. Before entering the heavenly planets, King Nirga circumambulated the Lord. He touched his helmet to the lotus feet of the Lord and bowed before him. Seeing the airplane from the heavenly planets present before him, he was given permission by the Lord to board it. After the departure of King Nirga, Lord Krishna expressed his appreciation. Just see Prabhupada explaining the spiritual activities of another world. After the departure of Lord Krishna expressed his appreciation for the king's devotion to the Brahmins, as well as his charitable disposition and his performance of Vedic rituals. Therefore, it is recommended that if one cannot directly become a devotee of the Lord, which all of us are doing, if you can't become a devotee in bhakti yoga, one should follow the Vedic principles of life. See, two classes here. This will enable him one day to see the Lord by being promoted either directly to the spiritual kingdom or indirectly to the heavenly kingdom, where he has the hope of being transferred to the spiritual planets. Now we know in bhakti yoga, Prabhupada told us you can do it in 1 second as a devotee. At this time, Lord Krishna was present amongst his relatives who were members of the Kshatriya class. To teach them through the exemplary character of King Nirga, he said, even though a Kshatriya king may be as powerful as fire, it is not possible for him to usurp the property of a Brahmin and utilize it for his own purpose. Okay, now we know the 10 offenses, so just refer to those in comparison to this. If this is so, how could ordinary kings who falsely think of themselves as the most powerful beings within the material world usurp a Brahmin's property? I do not think that taking poison is as dangerous as taking a Brahmin's property. What to speak of people that usurp Prabhupada's role as Diksha Guru? Just see some of them, how they live in such disgusting material bodies. I do not think that taking poison is as dangerous as taking Brahman's properties. For ordinary poison, there is a treatment. One can be relieved from its effects, but if one drinks the poison of taking a Brahman's property, there is no remedy for the mistake. The perfect example was King Nirga. He was very powerful and very pious, but due to the small mistake of unknowingly usurping a Brahmin's cow, he was condemned to the abominable life of a lizard. Ordinary poison affects only those who drink it, and ordinary fire can be extinguished simply by pouring water on it. But the Arani fire, ignited by the spiritual potency of a Brahmin, can burn to ashes the whole family of a person who provokes such a Brahmin. What to speak of people that offend Vaishnavas, Prabhus? Be careful. Here is a warning here. Formerly, the Brahmins used to ignite the fire of sacrifice not with matches or any other external fire, but with their powerful mantra called Arani. If someone even touches a Brahmin's property, listen to this, he is ruined for 3 generations. However, if a Brahmin's property is forcibly taken away, the taker's family for generations, 10 generations before him, and for 10 generations after him will become subject to ruination. Wow. It just goes to show you the influence of eternal time on a person. If, on the other hand, if someone becomes a Vaishnava or a devotee of the Lord, 10 generations of his family before his birth and 10 generations after will become liberated. And look at the summary explanation that Prabhupada has created for his disciples. Brilliant. This is brilliant. Lord Krishna continued, if some foolish king who is puffed up by his wealth, prestige, and power wants to usurp a Brahmin's property, or the Guru's property in this case, in ISKCON, it should be understood that such a king is clearing his path to hell. He does not know how much he has to suffer for such an unwise action. Yeah. If someone takes away the property of a very liberal Brahmin who is encumbered by a large independent family, then such an usurper is put into the hell known as Kumbhipaka. Not only is he put into this hell, but his family members also have to accept such a miserable condition of life. Serious reaction, eh? And ignorance of the law, everyone, is never an excuse. A person who takes away property which has either been awarded to a Brahmin or given away by him is condemned to live for at least 60,000 years as miserably as an insect in stool. Quite dramatic. Now, is this a fact? Yes, it is. Whatever the Guru speaks, Prabhupada speaks, is gospel. It's Shastra. And this is Shastra, of course. He will be defeated by his enemies. Okay. If someone wishes to, therefore I instruct you, O my boys and relatives present here, do not even by mistake take the possession of a Brahmin and thereby pollute your whole family. By mistake, if someone even wishes to possess such property, let alone attempts to take it away by force, the duration of his life will be reduced. He will be defeated by his enemies. And after being bereft of his royal position, when he gives up his body, he will become a serpent. A serpent gives trouble to all other living entities. My dear boys and relatives, I therefore advise you that even if a Brahmin becomes angry with you and calls you by ill names or cuts you, still you should not retaliate. Very interesting. They're very important Shastric principles that Prabhupada is explaining to us. I therefore advise you that even if a Brahmin becomes angry with you and calls you ill names or cuts you, you should not retaliate. Yeah. That's not something that goes along in this. I think this is the point you showed. A little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. There's a famous quote I'll look up and quote with you in the future, everyone. You get some knowledge and then you think that you become an actual incarnation of God in the disciplic succession. On the contrary, you should smile, tolerate him, and offer your respects to the Brahmin. You know very well that even if I offer my obeisances to the Brahmins with great respect 3 times daily, you should therefore follow my instruction. I shall not forgive anyone who does not follow them, and I shall punish them. You should learn from the example of King Nirga that even if someone unknowingly usurps the property of a Brahmin, He's put into a miserable condition of life. Thus, Lord Krishna, who was always engaged in purifying the conditioned living entities, gave instruction not only to his family members and the inhabitants of Dwarka, but to all the members of human society. After this, the Lord entered his palace. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second volume, 9th chapter of Krishna, the story of King Nirga. How did you like that, Rachisha? Very illuminating. And we'll move forward with the next section, which is Prabhupada speaking to us personally in a lecture by him. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Haribol.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarisayo Vidu. So, exactly like that. Here, sun is an insignificant part creation of the Lord. And the sun has got so much effulgence, bodily rays, that it is illuminating and heating the whole universe. You cannot deny it. This is the position of the sun. And there are millions and trillions of suns, each one sometimes bigger than this sun. This is the smallest sun. There are bigger suns. So, we can understand what is the bodily rays. There is no difficulty. That bodily rays of Krishna is called Brahma. Jasya prabha prabhavato jagadanna koti koti subhasudhadi vibhuti hinnam. Tad Brahma. That is Brahma. That prabha. So, similarly, Krishna is present in everyone's heart, localized. This is impersonal expansion. That the sunshine is impersonal expansion of the sun rays. So similarly, Brahma effulgence is the impersonal expansion of Krishna's bodily rays. And the portion by which he is present everywhere, Annantarastham paramanu chayantarastham, he is within this universe, he is within your heart, within my heart, he is within everything. Everything means even within the atom, paramanu. That is his Paramatma feature. And the last and ultimate feature is Krishna's personal body. Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form. That form is not like ours. That is Sat Chit Ananda. The body has also three features. Sat means eternal. So therefore, his body is distinct from our body. This body is not eternal within the history. When this body is created by the father and mother, there is a death, beginning. And when this body is finished, annihilated, there is another death. So anything within the death, that is history. But Krishna is not like that. Anadi, You cannot estimate when Krishna's body began. Anadi. Adi, again Adi. He is the beginning of everyone. Anadi, he himself is Anadi. Nobody can find out what is the date of his appearance. He is beyond history. So, but he is the beginning of everyone. Just like my father is the beginning of my body. Father is the cause of the beginning of my body, or your body, everyone. So therefore, he has no beginning, that he has no father, but he is the Supreme Father. That is the conception, Christian conception. God is the Supreme Father. That is fact, because he is the beginning of everyone. Janmadasya jataha. Whatever has come into being, that is from Krishna. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham adirhi devanam. The devatas, this Brahmanda is the creation of Brahma. He is called one of the demigods. The Krishna says, Aham adirhi devanam. I am the beginning of the devatas, demigods. So, if you study Krishna in this way, then you become Daiva, divine. Divine. Our Krishna Consciousness movement is meant for educating everyone to become divine. That is the program. What is the gain by becoming divine? That is described in the previous verse. Daivi sampad vimoktaya. If you become divine and acquire the divine qualities, avayam sattva samsiddhi, jnana yogi, avasthiti, that is we have discussed already. So, if you become divine, there is no impediment to become divine. Simply, you have to practice for the post. Just like everyone can become High Court judge. Everyone can become the President of the United States. There is no bar. But you have to be qualified. If you qualify yourself, you can become fitted in any position. Similarly, as it is said, to divine, to become Daivi, you have to qualify yourself to become divine. How to become divine? That is already described, we have already. So if you qualify yourself by the divine qualities, then what is the benefit? Daivi sampad vimokkaya. Moksha. Moksha means liberation. So if you cultivate divine qualities, then you are fit for being liberated. What is liberation? Liberation from repeating birth and death. That is our real suffering. The modern rascal civilization, they do not know actually what is the end of suffering. They do not know. There is no education, there is no science. They are thinking that here, a small span of life, say 50 years, 60 years, 100 years at most. If we get a nice wife, a nice apartment, a nice motor car, running with 70 miles speed, and a nice whiskey bottle, That is his perfection. But that is not vimokkha. Real vimokkha, liberation means no more birth, death, old age and disease. That is vimokkha. That they do not know him.
So illuminating. Isn't that fabulous? I wanted to say, finishing my train of thought earlier, how could you stay in this movement, say Yaśodā, and if some of us for so many years and not give it up? Because there's nectar in what Prabhupada's words. There is substance of truth in his words. And for those whose destiny is so available to them, they would be foolish to give it up. Because destiny is your mission in life, to go back home, back to Godhead, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. And Prabhupada proved it in a 5-minute speech just now. Why would you give that up? When you hear the truth, why would you give it up for any other meager material success? It's completely not of the character of a sincere devotee of Krishna and A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And we're going to go to our next section of this exciting reading and discussion with our godbrother Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu from the Lord Chaitanya's Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta by Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, qualified. It's a qualified version approved by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Let's go to that. Let's do the Jaya Radha Madhava first. Hare Bo.
Sign. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Yaśodā-nandana Braja Jana Nandana. Yaśodā-nandana Braja Jana Nandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Jayam Swasaram Vibrajagacharya Chittana Sadasyaman Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhavan ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Navadvip Dham ki Jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. Ganga Mai ki Jai. Jamuna Mai ki Jai. Tulasi Devi ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya, Narayanam namaskritya, Naram cheva narottamam, Naram cheva narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Mudirayet, Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, after offering respectful obeisances, 1 to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2 to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3 to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4 to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. It should be mentioned that this reading is being conducted from the original non-adulterated version, the 1975 version of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and all synonyms, translations, and purports are from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the Adi Lila chapter 1 from text 18 to explain the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Caitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. 18 Thakur Gaudiya ke Karye Chenayatmasad. 18 Era Charana Vandan Tire Morenat. These 3 deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Granterarambi Mangala Charana, Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Tinera smarane ai vigna vinashana, anayase ai nijavanchita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Simangala charanoi trivida prakar, vastu nirdesha shirvada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. Let us proceed with the specific verse for today. We are reading from the Adi Lila chapter 6, text number 29. Bhakti upadesha vinutandra nahi karya, ataeva namo ela advaita acharya. Bhakti upadesha, instruction of devotional service. Vinu, without. Tandra, his. Nahi, there is not. Karya, occupation. Ataeva, therefore. Nama, the name. Oela, became. Advaita Acharya, the supreme teacher, Acharya, Advaita Prabhu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Since he has no other occupation than to teach devotional service, his name is Advaita Acharya. Text number 30. Vaishnavera Guru Tenho Jagatera Arya, Dvinama Milanoela Advaita Acharya. Vaishnavera, of the devotees, Guru, spiritual master, Tenho, he, Jagatera Arya, the most respectable personality in the world, Dvinama Milane, by combining the two names, Oela, there was, Advaita Acharya, the name Advaita Acharya. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. He is the spiritual master of all devotees and is the most revered personality in the world. By a combination of these two names, his name is Advaita Acharya. Purport. Sri Advaita Acharya is the prime spiritual master of the Vaishnavas, and he is worshipable by all Vaishnavas. Devotees and Vaishnavas must follow in the footsteps of Advaita Acharya, for by so doing, one can actually engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Text 31. Kamala nayanera tenhruyati anga amsha, Caitanya-caritāmṛta nama avatamsha. Kamala nayanera, of the lotus eye. Tenho, he. Yate, since. Anga, limb. Amsha, part. Kamala aksha, the lotus eye. Kari, accepting that. Dare, takes. Nama, the name. Avatamsha, partial expansion. Translation. Since he's a limb or part of the lotus-eyed Supreme Lord, he also bears the name Kamalaksha. Text 32. Ishvara Sarupya Paya Parishadagan Chatur Bhuja Pitavasa Yeche Narayana. Ishvara Sarupya, the same bodily features as the Lord. Paya, gets. Parishadagana, the associates. Chatur Bhuja, 4 hands. Pitavasa, yellow dress. Yoiche, just as. Narayana, Lord Narayana. His associates have the same bodily features as the Lord. They all have 4 arms and are dressed in yellow garments like Narayana. Text 33. Advaita Acharya Ishwarera Amsha Varya Tandra Tattva Nama Guna Sakali Ascharya. Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya Prabhu Ishwarera, of the Supreme Lord, Amsha Varya, principal part. Tandra, his. Tattva, truths. Nama, names. Guna, attributes. Sakali, all. Ācārya, wonderful. Translation: Sri Advaita-Ācārya is the principal limb of the Supreme Lord. His truths, names, and attributes are all wonderful. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prachantaya Tasmai Gurave Namah. Bhagavad Vandana Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sarkara Yuktam Kadate Hivisheshatah Adadana-strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punah Punah Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyam Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Presta Sad Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada in numerous lectures and several times in his books has explained that the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not come just by himself. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangha Upanga Parshadam Yagne Samkirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedasaha. That in the age of Kali Yuga, those who are intelligent, Sumedasaha, those who are intelligent will worship the Supreme Lord who comes accompanied with his associates, with his weapons, Parshadam. Parshadam means his associates. So this is a description, according to our Acharyas, of the divine appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have seen in earlier section of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared because of the prayers and very intense desire of Sri Advaita Ācārya. He was praying that please come, praying to Krishna, worshiping Lord Krishna on the bank of the Ganges in Shantipur, please come to free those living entities that are absorbed in material life, that they're absorbed in all kinds of karma kanda, jnana kanda activities. This is the transcendental power of Sri Advaita Ācārya. Advaita Ācārya was born before Lord Chaitanya in Shantipur, and he was preaching Bhakti Tattva, the science of bhakti. That's why he's called Acharya. Prabhupada many times describes the qualifications of a bona fide Vaishnavacharya, and the personification of such a personality is Sri Advaita Ācārya Prabhu. Now, all these verses in Caitanya-caritāmṛta are very important, because sometimes there is confusion in the minds of some neophytes. Why is it that we observe the appearance day of some acharyas, but then we also observe the disappearance days of some of these acharyas? How does that work? Well, it works because the acharya, Srila Prabhupada has explained in numerous conversations, numerous lectures, specifically lectures relating to the appearance and disappearance day of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, other great acharyas, that appearance and disappearance acharyas, that is the same. Of course, on one hand, we are sad because the acharya has departed, but we have to understand great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and all these great acharyas, they come to this world, and what they do is they come here to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let me give an example here. In Atlanta, Georgia, on March 2nd, 1975, on the appearance day of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda, Srila Prabhupada explains, quote, "So he wanted this, and he is not. It is not that he is dead and gone. That is not spiritual understanding. Even ordinary living being, he does not die. Nahanyate hanyamani sharire." Bhagavad Gita 2:20. And what to speak of such exalted, authorized personality like Bhaktisiddhanta? He is seeing, "I never feel that I'm alone." Of course, when I came to your country without any friend, without any means, practically just like a vagabond, I came, but I had full faith that my Guru Maharaj is with me. I never lost this faith, and that is a fact. There are two words, Vani and Vapu. Vani means words, and Vapu means this physical body. So Vani is more important than the Vapu. Vapu will be finished. This material body, it will be finished. That is the nature. But if we keep to the Vani, to the words of the spiritual master, then we remain very fixed up. It does not matter. Just like Bhagavad Gita, it was spoken 5,000 years ago. But if you keep to the words of Krishna, then it is always fresh and guiding. Not that because Arjuna personally listened to Krishna about the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, therefore he knew it. That is not the fact. If you accept Bhagavad Gita as it is, then you should know that Krishna is present before you in his words in the Bhagavad Gita. This is called spiritual realization. I just want to point out another purport that Prabhupada explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, Text 19. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, Text 19. After fulfilling his responsibility to produce a nice child, one should take sannyas and engage in the perfectional Paramamsa stage. Paramamsa refers to the most highly elevated perfectional stage of life. There are 4 stages within sannyas life, and Paramamsa is the highest order. The Srimad Bhagavatam is called the Paramahamsa Samhita, the treatise for the highest class of human beings. The Paramahamsa is free from envy. In other stages, even in the householder stage of life, there is competition and envy. But since the activities of the human being in the Paramahamsa stage are completely engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service, there is no scope for envy. In the same order as Kardama Muni, about 100 years ago, Thakur Bhaktivinoda also wanted to beget a child who could preach the philosophy and teachings of Lord Chaitanya to the fullest extent. By his prayers to the Lord, he had as his child Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who at the present moment is preaching the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya throughout the entire world through his bona fide disciples. Now, this is a very important point. Prabhupada does not see his Guru Maharaj as dead and gone. He sees him active and present, although he physically departed in December of 1937. This was written in 1972. He is seeing active, preaching the message through his bona fide disciples. So the point being is the appearance and Dear's appearance day. Okay, the advance to next unread message is important. What is that next unread message? Yes. According to the principles of Vaishnavism, both the appearance and the disappearance of such Vaishnavas or devotees of Vishnu, Krishna, are all auspicious. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, hold on here. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 9, Krishna says, Janma karma chami divyam. My appearance and disappearance are spiritual, transcendental. They are not ordinary. Why does Krishna appear in this world? That he explains in the previous verse, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinachaya chadushkritam dharmasam stapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I appear millennium after millennium. God's only business is to protect the faithful devotees and to kill the demoniac. Therefore, we find Lord Vishnu pictured with his weapons, the club and the chakra, for protecting the devotees, and the lotus flower in conch for their benediction. Similarly, transcendental are the appearance and the disappearance of Krishna's devotees, who are sent to this material world to preach the glories of the Lord. According to the principles of Vaishnavism, both the appearance and the disappearance of such Vaishnavas or devotees of Vishnu are all auspicious. Therefore, we hold festivals in their honor on the anniversaries of both days. Actually, even ordinary living entities never take birth or die. What to speak of Krishna and his devotees? Sometimes atheistic men say God is dead. They do not know that even the smallest living entity does not die. So how can God be dead? Atheists are described in the Bhagavad Gita as mudhas, or foolish rascals. They have no knowledge, but pose themselves as learned men and mutter something that is good neither for them nor the public. Thank you very much. Back to you in the studio. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hold on, I'm trying to get on. Very interesting point. It's not for anyone, including the public, when people present themselves falsely. And we see that going on, especially in India, where people are preaching and presenting themselves as bona fide gurus. I saw a photograph or a video of one of these godbrothers of ours. He has like thousands of people there at some kind of pandal. Well, that's not a big deal. I mean, if you offer people free food and a pandal tent, an event, you'll get lots of people. I've had that experience where you just start giving out food and all the people show up. So this is going on in the name of Chaitanya Vaishnavism. And it's important to know that Prabhupada did comment here, Yaśodā, that Vani is more important than Vapu. Now, someone would say, well, how come you're stressing that? Well, we're not stressing it, we're repeating it because Prabhupada repeated it. And maybe you don't get it upstairs. Maybe you can't hear. You've got something in your ear that's blocking it. Or maybe it's your false ego or your business or your money making or whatever it is that motivates you with these few short years that you have in this body to carry on and be completely oblivious to the truth of the matter. Vani is more important than Vapu. This is the most important principle in bhakti yoga. And it's a simple principle. Why can't you hear it? You don't want to. You've got some kind of problem upstairs. That's as simple as it is. So we'll leave it at that. We have a couple of questions, Yaśodā. Mother Shreya had a question. Maybe you'd like to ask Yaśodā that question about the history. Do you think it's important? Go ahead, Shreya Rupa Devi Dasi.
Hare
Go
Krishna,
ahead, ask the question. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I wanted to ask, every time in the class we bring up the historical evidences and references. So why do you think it is important for us as new devotees to know all these things?
It's important because there's a class of devotees or pseudo-devotees who mislead people. So knowledge is a powerful deterrent. Just like when you get up in the morning, you don't need a torchlight or a flashlight to find the sun. The sun will come up. So similarly, these various facts and historical facts are given to basically educate devotees and give them substantial knowledge to dissipate the nonsense propaganda, so people will not be victimized by the false propaganda of motivated people. Just like we keep saying on this program, we are the Rupa Anuga Sampradaya. We are not a Rupi Anuga Sampradaya. Rupee is the currency of the state of India. Rupa Goswami is the original Acharya of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Like we recite in the beginning of these prayers, Adadana Srinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punapaha. That we pray that with a straw in our mouth, that we may become a piece of dust at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami after birth after birth. But there are some people who've twisted the teachings, distorted the teachings, and turned it into a Rupi Anuga Sampradaya. That is why discussion of these historical facts is important, so people will know what the facts are as opposed to the propaganda. Propaganda, Prabhupada in a conversation with Shama Sundar in the book Dialectical Spiritualism was discussing communism, the philosophy of Mao and Russian communism. And Prabhupada said, by propaganda, you can establish anything. He says, but if it is not based on truth, eventually it will fail. And we've seen this. For those who know the history of what happened to those original individuals who claim to have been appointed as Prabhupada's successors, as so-called Diksha Gurus, for those who are in knowledge of the facts, they're not bewildered by propaganda. They know what the facts are, and therefore they can understand, they can take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. But those who are bewildered and victimized by false propaganda, to them, they can't understand. That is why discussion of these issues is important for all devotees, not just new devotees, even older devotees, so they can separate the fact from the fiction. They can understand truth from illusion. What does the Bhagavatam say in the beginning, in the first verse? Satyam param dhimahi. There's a whole description in the first verse of the Bhagavatam. What is the purpose of this Bhagavatam? To separate truth from illusion. Similarly, these kind of discussions are important for devotees to support, to differentiate between false propaganda and actual truth. Recently, somebody pointed out to me how one very older devotee, a GBC, and somebody who was a close associate of Prabhupada, gave his opinion. Just like Vishwakarma referred to this, that people have body odor. Every human being has body odor. So he gave his opinion that he was there and he really knew because he was a confidential devotee, he was a senior devotee, he was a close associate of Prabhupada, but his opinion has been invalidated by the testimony of so many other devotees, by the historical facts that have taken place since 1978. But they're still attached to their own opinion, despite the fact that nobody can identify any such order that had ever been given by Prabhupada appointing any Acharya. They can't find that because it doesn't exist. Even one of the foremost masterminds of this illusory system admitted in Topanga Canyon, California, on December 3rd, 1980, this idea that Prabhupada appointed gurus is a myth, M-Y-T-H. It's a falsehood. But 47 years later, they still stick to it because they think I was there. I was a close devotee. So what? 40 years ago, they had a lot of close devotees that were close to His Divine Grace. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they thought they understood his teachings. They thought they understood his instruction, and they made a big, big blunder. They disobeyed his instructions. We'll leave it at that for now. That is why we insist on opening these discussions. We don't call this a class. We don't talk down to people. We have readings and discussion, and we make statement that we can back up. Thank you very much for the question. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, let me jump in here for a second and say this, that, you know, some of the people that we associated with personally are very rich, and they have money. They've taken the role of a gurus, and all of their funds are in secret bank accounts. And it's large amounts of money. This we know from admission of a few people to us personally. 1. 2, they have used money to purify any bad propaganda about their involvement in nefarious activities. They have used money to erase those facts from the internet, and they do it. And you can't find out the truth. This one devotee, Bhaktin Sushma, there are people who know the truth, but are still getting bewildered. There's a saying, Yaśodā, you can't fix stupid. People, they can't figure it out. They can't think logically. They're moved by their emotion, their sentiment. And this sentimentality does not lead to realization. It leads to bewilderment and confusion. So these things are going on. What do we got here? As soon as a personal motivation comes in, it's not possible for one to understand our Krishna. That's the problem. Why are we trying to explain the historical facts? To help people. That's all. It's a compassion, a concern. But are we going to constantly try to convince people? A person convinced against his own is of the same opinion still. It won't happen. You want to stay like that, you try to convince them, you know what you do? Walk away. To preach to the unfaithful is an offense against the holy name. And we're going to read that in the next section of our program. We're going to go forward here. We could carry on with this, as you know. But we're going to carry on with another very interesting Krishna Katha, a very interesting part of our program, which is an explanation of what is a proper guru and what is a fake guru by this booklet called Our Living Guru. And we're going to go to Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and carry on with that reading. Haribol.
Thank you very much for this explanation. We are reading from Our Living Guru, section number 3. I don't know exactly which page we're on, but here we go. Page 33. Third, when the genuine guru preaches, under no circumstances can he fall down into sinful material activities. Quote, Kayadu, the mother of Prahlad Maharaj, stayed under the protection of Narada Muni without fear from any direction. Similarly, Narada Muni in his transcendental position stayed with the young woman without fear of deviation. Narada Muni, Haridas Thakur, and similar acharyas, especially empowered to broadcast the glories of the Lord, cannot be brought down to the material platform. Therefore, one is strictly forbidden to think that the Acharya is an ordinary human being. Gurushu Naramatihi, from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, Text 14. The Living Guru Project is so much convinced that the Guru can be brought down to the material platform, they actively generate a vengeful mood towards those who might disagree. We know devotees who actually believe the Living Guru dogma. After attaining perfection, you will probably fall down again. And after hearing this bleak eternal treadmill philosophy, they wanted to commit suicide. Perhaps not too surprisingly, the GBC's primary Living Guru writer who often pens their bleak tirades called Guru Position Papers is also fond of reading books by Franz Kafka, an atheistic author known for his bleak, depressing, and nightmarish treadmill scenarios. The obvious practical result is that many devotees are now reluctant to preach, having been convinced by the Living Guru Project that once they begin preaching, the sins of the fallen will accumulate on them, and they will have to fall down just as various living gurus have done. Section 4.2, question. But doesn't the genuine guru risk falling down when he preaches to the sinful? Answer by Srila Prabhupada. In Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya Lila 2271, Prabhupada states flatly, there is no possibility that a first-class devotee will fall down, even though he may mix with non-devotees to preach. 4.3, question. And yet, why do supposed gurus sometimes become overwhelmed by materialism? Answer by Srila Prabhupada. On page 116 of the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada explains, a bona fide spiritual master will never become fallen like that. But sometimes if a spiritual master is not properly authorized and only on his own initiative becomes a spiritual master, he may be carried away by an accumulation of wealth and large number of disciples. Note, here Srila Prabhupada clearly points out that the fall downs of the living gurus proves that they are not properly authorized. Prabhupada confirms his above statement in a letter, quote, unless one is a resident of Krishna Loka, the Lord's own abode, one cannot be a spiritual master. That is the first proposition. A layman cannot be a spiritual master. And if he becomes so, then he will simply create a disturbance. The Living Guru Project wants laymen or neophytes to artificially pose as perfected gurus, and the result, as predicted herein by Prabhupada, is he will simply create a disturbance. Back to you in the studio. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
It's an important point here, everyone, that Prabhupada is explaining very clearly that if a so-called guru is not on the first-class level, because he says specifically, a first-class devotee never falls down. So if there's 150 gurus, they've made more than that. I think there's 175 now, Ruchisha. 175 of them. And out of 175, you have 75 that have fallen down due to nefarious activities, all kinds of things. We won't detail them here. Does that prove that they're fake gurus? Yes, it does. Categorically proof. But then it's interesting, Bhakti Shushma, she says there are people who know the truth, but they're still bewildered. What are you going to do? Yell at them? No, go away. These people are bewildered, they're lost, they're confused, they're contaminated, and their association we should all avoid. It's very dangerous. You avoid, Shreya, go ahead. Shreshna Rupa, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I
Ask
just
us-
wanted to add a comment here, Prabhu. The
Go
people
ahead.
are becoming bewildered because they are not making the choice. And today, choices are very important. You've got a lot of variety available online. You can attend various classes. You don't have to go physically to attend these classes. It's available online. But then the most important thing is you need to make the choice. Who do you want to follow? Why do you want to follow? Whoever you're following, is that person telling you the truth? Can you ask them to validate what they're talking? If you ask these questions, I think it's going to help them know whether they want to follow this group or that group or where they want to go. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Well, it's very true what you said. And, by the way, I wanted to mention to all of you that it's a compliment to all of you that you understand what we're saying. That's why, by the way, Yaśodā, and you know it, we have a restriction. If you get an invitation to our class somehow or other, we say in it, by the way, no ISKCON guru is allowed to attend this class. None of them, nor their disciples. Now we have an exception to the rule, which is we can discuss it with them, qualify them, and give them permission. But they have to be of the same understanding and temperament of our group. Otherwise, it's like a poisonous serpent entering into the house. It'll just bite you, and it won't create any kind of harmony, because birds of the same feather flock together, they work together, and they serve together. And that is what we expect from this group, that we all work together as a team to present Prabhupada's philosophy according to Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. And thank you very much. We're going to move forward. What's next on the program? Another lecture, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada lecture, Educating to Become First-Class Yogi.
Okay, let's roll with that. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam. A Brahmin, he prays to Krishna, my dear Lord, I have become the servant of my senses. Here everyone is servant of his senses. They want to enjoy the senses. Not enjoy, they want to serve the senses. My tongue says, please take me to such and such restaurant and give me such and such chicken juice. I immediately go. Not to enjoy, but to abide by the orders of my tongue. Therefore, in the name of so-called enjoyment, we are all serving the senses. In Sanskrit it is called Godas. Go means senses. So unless you become Goswami, your life is spoiled. Goswami. You cannot be dictated by the senses. You have to dictate to the senses. As soon as the tongue says, kindly take me to the restaurant or give me a cigarette, if you say no, no cigarette, no restaurant, simply Krishna Prasad, then you are Goswami. Then you are Goswami. This is characteristic Sanatana, because I am eternal servant of Krishna. So, this is called Sanatana Dharma. That we are describing in the Ajami Lupakhya, this stage can be attained. Tapasa, brahmacharjena, samena, zamena, shauchena, tyagena, jamena, niyamena. Therefore, the whole Vedic literature is meant for how to control the senses. Yoga, indriya sangha, that is yoga. Yoga means not to show some magic. This is the first class magic. If you are practicing yoga, I have seen so many so-called yogis, but they cannot control the sense for smoking. Smoking and so many things are going on, and still they are passing as a yogi. What kind of yogi? Yogi means one who has controlled the senses. Samena, damena, brahmacharjena. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is all explained. When yoga system is described, and 5,000 years ago, Arjuna was hearing about this yoga, controlling senses. So he was a grihastha and politician also, because he belonged to the royal family. He was fighting for gaining victory over the kingdom. So Arjuna frankly said, "My dear Krishna, it is not possible for me to become a yogi, because this is very difficult job. You are asking me to sit down in a solitary place, in a sacred place, and in perpendicular state, simply looking on the point of your nose, of my nose. So many things are, but it is not possible for me." He frankly refused. So Krishna, just to encourage his friend and devotee, he could understand that Arjuna is becoming disappointed. He is frankly admitting that it is not possible for him. Actually, he is a politician. How it can be possible for him to become yogi? But our politicians, they are advertising, they are practicing yoga. What kind of yoga? Has he become more than Arjuna? In this age of fallen age, 5,000 years ago, how much favorable condition was there? And now, in such unfavorable condition, deteriorated condition, you want to become a so-called yogi? It is not possible. Kite dadhyato Vishnu. Yoga means to meditate upon Vishnu. That was possible in the Satyayuga, just like Valmiki. He meditated for 60,000 of years and become perfect. So, who is going to live for 60 years? So it is not possible. So therefore, Krishna, to encourage him, actually, the purpose of yoga, he explained to Arjuna. Yoginam api sarvesam madgata antaratmana suddhyaman bhajati jo mang same jukta tamo mata. First class yogi. Who? Yoginam api sarvesam madgata antaratmana. Who is thinking of always of me, Krishna. So, this Krishna consciousness movement is educating people to become first-class yogi. Think of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. This is not bogus thing. It is actual fact. You can become yogi. You can become Brahma. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Manchabhya vicharini bhakti yogena jasevati. Sagunan samatiptai tan. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So one who becomes a realized, self-realized person, Brahma-bhuta prasannatma, then what does it remain for him? That is the ultimate goal of life, to become aham brahmasmi. The Vedic literature teaches us that don't think that you belong to this matter. You are Brahma. Krishna is Parabrahma. And we are subordinate Brahma. Nitya Krishna Das. You are servant Brahma. He is master Brahma. So instead of understanding that I am servant Brahma, I am thinking I am master Brahma. That is another illusion. That is another illusion.
Another illusion. So many different illusions. Just one point I wanted to mention, that Prabhupada did not discriminate between men and women and their devotional position in his society. It was never a matter of that in terms of surrender. Like a lot of people think, oh, this person is wearing pink robes. Oh yeah, you wear pink robes, but you're a sahaja. You're impersonating a spiritually so-called advanced person. But Goswami, the title Swami or Goswami, is not based on dress, pink robes. It's not based on whether you're a grihasta or a woman or any of those designations. It's based on your personal surrender. That's all it is. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to not be the servant of the senses of Prabhupada mentioned here. And look, he goes, and a person wants to go, did you hear that, Yaśodā? He goes, a person wants to go and have chicken juice. Prabhupada says, chicken juice. But it's not a joke. That's what people do. We have a history of people that after they leave the movement, they become alcoholics. They drink whiskey and wine and this and the other thing. Because they're servants of the senses. They're not Goswami. So don't become confused by the pink robes of people that wear them and perpetrate themselves as renounced. And in the back room, they're doing something else. This has just absolutely been going on for over 55 years, and we know it. Go ahead, my friend, please.
I just want to make a point here for those of you who may not know or may not understand this or may not have heard this. Prabhupada wanted to stop giving sannyas in ISKCON in a lecture on January 7th, 1977 in Bombay, India. He said, no more sannyas in ISKCON. What did they do? They never followed that instruction. Instead, they have so many new people that they've made. It's called political sannyas. It has nothing to do with sannyas. So all these people that have taken their so-called sannyas initiation after 1977, it's a disobedience of Srila Prabhupada's instruction and order. Just for the record, we can actually give the quote.
Yeah, it's a fact. And some people would say, hey, you're a fault finder. These people are good devotees. No, this was an order given by Srila Prabhupada because they were creating a fiasco in his movement of misrepresenting a sacred order like that. Nowadays, when I see these people walking around, I just think to myself, is he real or is he fake or is he demoniac or what is he? I don't know. I'm confused. And when you see all these videos, we've got this guy from Toronto running around. He's doing these shorts. It's just craziness. It's beyond anything. So are we after these people? No, because We've left them behind. You know, you've got to disregard them. Otherwise, it becomes a disturbance to see these offenses going on. And instead of dealing with them, we walk away. That's our point. And we'll go from there. We're going to go to our next section of the program. Thank you, Shri Devi, Rupa Devi Dasi, for those interesting questions. It really gets us going, eh? Yaśodā and Raghava, we get pumped up. The truth is very, how can I say, invigorating, Rupa Goswami, isn't it? When you have the truth, you feel some bliss. When you don't, it's the other side of the coin. So we'll go forward with our next section, which is Rupa Ram Raghava. What is it? Is it the 10 offenses?
Recitation of the 10 offenses.
Okay, so let's go with that, and then a japa class, one round. So stick around for that. Take advantage of the opportunity. Haribol.
Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 8, Offenses to be Avoided. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. First, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali, Kali or Durga, Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Sixth, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful reactions. It should not be taken that one may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities. Karma Kanda. 9th. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, but in the beginning one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. 10th. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success.
To the japa program, okay, has unmuted you. Before we move to the japa program, I want Ram Raghava to read this Bombay quote from January 7th, 1977, just to reinforce what we're saying is not concoction, but fact, that the sannyas is a state of mind, not a dress. Go ahead, read this.
This should be strictly outlawed. No more sannyasis. And those sannyasis who have fallen, you get them married. Live like a no more this show bottle, cheating. It is very ludicrous. Even there is a promise that we shall not fall down again. That is also not believable. What is the use? Better go and speak philosophy in your grihastha dress, not this dress. But you have nice coat, pants, gentlemen. Who says no? I never said. Rather, I shall be glad to see that up-to-date gentlemen with tilak and shikha are speaking. That is very prestigious everywhere. Why this false dress? What is the wrong to become grihastha? I was grihastha, Pakka caliber grihastha. Bombay, January 7, 1977.
There it is, fact over fiction. Now you can accept it or you can reject it, but Prabhupada spoke it. And it was for everybody down through the ages. So it's simple as that. And all glories to the devotees who have taken this process up with us and believe sincerely that Prabhupada is living with us in his Vani incarnation. We're going to go to the next section of our program, which is a group one-round japa class together, and then we'll roll out the rest of the program. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, everyone.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Ram
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram Ram,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna Krishna,
Ram,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna, Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Ram,
Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Krishna, Krishna
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram, Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram
Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Ram Ram,
Ram,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Rama Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Chant and be happy.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this reading and discussion. Thank Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Ram Raghava Prabhu in Georgia, Shesharupa Mataji in South India, Ruchisa Mataji dans la belle province de Québec, Viprahita Prabhu and his good wife, the parents of Ram Raghava who attend the program very steadily. Thank you very much for participating. And Rashikeshwari Mataji is the name of his mother, Ram Raghava's mother. And Radharani in Kansas, Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Mumbai, Bhaktin Sakshi in India, Bhaktin Renuka in India. Thank you very much for coming. Kevin in Tennessee, Krishna Kata in San Diego, Bhakta Roy in Mississippi, and Rupa Goswami, one of our organizers in Bombay, India. Michael Dillon in Yuba City, California, Meghana Prabhu in wherever you are, I believe in the East Coast somewhere. And we have Vijay in the East Coast as well, Veerabhadra Prabhu in South India, Kanta Prabhu in Trinidad. I hope you're surviving all the storms out there. Chaitanya Nishinga Prabhu in East Coast of USA, and everybody else participating. Thank you so much for your participation. Chaitanya Nrsimha, Veerabhadra, Kanta Prabhu, Bhaktin Sushma in India. Thanks everybody for participating. Please join us again on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock a.m., corresponding to 10 a.m. Eastern Coast Time, for the reading and discussion on Bhagavad Gita. Back to you in the studio. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to be a part of this program with all of you. Not only a pleasure, it's actually blissful. Satchidananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. This is the Prabhupada Vani incarnation extension for all of us. So we'll see you soon. We're going to roll out the credits to the show and some other video. And I know that Shrestha and her mother dance along when we play this version of the Funk Parade. So thank you, everyone, for appreciating all of the work that everyone is doing. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Thank you, Bhaktin, Shushma. Thank you for jumping on board. Haribo.
I'm listening. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Play that bass, chant for peace, everyone. Don't be shy, chant along, chant along. Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Hare, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare